Hi, I'm Steph and I review everything. Thanks for checking out my channel. If you like this video, click like, subscribe, comment, all that YouTube stuff. I really appreciate it. So let's talk a little bit about this new Netflix show called Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. So this was released a few weeks ago, and for a few days it was like everywhere on Facebook. I'm in a couple of thriller book groups, and I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts and things like that. So I was really well aware that this was coming, and then when it was released, people were talking about it all over the place. So I went and I gave the first couple of episodes a look, and then I just had to stop watching. So does that disqualify me from talking about it? Maybe. I just found it too disturbing. And interestingly, I have watched biopics about like Ted Bundy and others, and I didn't find them quite as disturbing as this show. And maybe that's because this is a multi-episode show and not just like a 1.5 to 2 hour movie. I guess super disturbing is probably what Netflix is going for with this show. It's basically R-rated in content. I did think that the cast is really good. The victims were portrayed really well from the episodes that I did see, and of course Evan Peters is exceptional in the main role. I'm just not comfortable watching hour after hour of this story spun out. Some people have complained about the show glorifying Dahmer, and I have to sort of agree. I mean, he was straight up evil, and while I don't think that Peters in any way is aiming for glorification, there's something about Netflix cashing in on this story in such a graphic, weighty show that feels a little bit slimy. One problem with the Dahmer show is that there are still living relatives and friends of his victims, and I can't imagine being in their shoes and knowing that your son or your friend was murdered by this monster, and Netflix is using that story to make money hand over fist. It just kind of rubs me the wrong way. And I know I'm a bit of a prude, and I know that some of you probably love the show and you aren't bothered by the gravity of the story, and that's okay. Like, I'm not telling you that you're wrong. I don't mind like reading about these stories or listening to, podcasts retelling the stories. I especially like hearing how crimes are ultimately solved and the psychology of it and things. There's just such a big difference between a short format and a longer multi-episode TV show. The TV show just feels a little overdone to me. It is high quality. The production values are excellent. The acting, like I said, is just amazing. I just feel like maybe it's too much. Maybe this story didn't really need to be told again. It has been done. I looked it up on IMDb, and there are 5 titles of films based on Dahmer. One of them is only a few years old. So did we need it told again in greater detail? I guess I didn't. It feels a little indulgent and not in a good way. I think, it's a question of ethics too. Is it ethical to continue cashing in on this story? I mean, I know ethics don't mean a lot in Hollywood, but this feels like maybe they stepped over a line. And from what I understand, the showrunners didn't really perform their due diligence with the victims' families. There are some that claim they were never even contacted about the show, even though actors portrayed them on screen and directly quoted them. Casting Evan Peters was a bold move. He's sort of like a Hollywood crush celebrity right now, and I'm sure that a lot of people watch this just to see his performance. But, let's keep in mind that Dahmer was not someone that you should be attracted to, right? Like, he was a necrophile, a cannibal, a pedophile, and a murderer. He would have made you weep if you even survived meeting him. So I even read online that some women are thirsting after Evan Peters as Dahmer, and I'm like, oh, ladies, no, let's not go there. There's something really wrong with that. Go watch him in something else. Don't lust after him in this performance. Like, we shouldn't even have to call that out. This is so disgusting. And it reminds me of another interesting true crime trope. This is like, how often have we heard, this serial killer or that serial killer was a genius? And I really don't think that most of them were. Like Ted Bundy, for example, was a smart enough guy, but I don't think he was really above average. He was lucky and he was tricksome. And, in Dahmer's case, I think he may have even been a little below average in intelligence, but he he had this way of talking himself out of trouble. You know, when the police came, he managed to get away with a lot. And I'm sure there are a couple of serial killers who would qualify as genius, but I think most of them just got lucky until they got caught. I really feel like we have to stop putting guys like this up on a pedestal as though they were like admirable, because they weren't. These are men, and I guess sometimes women, whose depravity and deeply troubled lives and their broken brains led them to commit the worst crimes that humankind are capable of. So just, you know, keep that in mind when you watch a show like Dahmer. Don't get caught up in the glitz and the production and the fiction of it. Don't forget that the man behind that character you're watching was evil. Something else that really bothered me are the memes that I've seen on Facebook using images from the show. I'm like, no, let's not do that. There's nothing really funny about Dahmer or what he did. He left behind this trail of death and tragedy, and I realize that's not a problem with the show. That's just people making that choice to use those images, and you know, they probably think they're being funny. I just personally don't find it funny, and I would imagine that the victims' families don't find it funny either. I do believe you have the right to enjoy this content. If you like it, that's okay. It was just a bit much for me personally, and I feel like it's a little morally ambiguous. But maybe I'll stop while I'm ahead here. I don't really have a lot more to say about it. I just wanted to put it out there that maybe this kind of thing doesn't really need to be made. Maybe it doesn't need to be glorified. And, you know, maybe life is difficult and messy enough that we don't need this level of excess, you know, put into our brains too. But that's just me. I'm not going to judge you for liking this Netflix show if you do. So, you know, I hope you'll offer me the same courtesy. If you want to respectfully disagree, go ahead and comment below and tell me what I missed. Like I said, I didn't finish the show, so maybe there was some redeeming quality that I didn't get to in a later episode. Tell me what I missed. Tell me why you liked it. If you did, I think that's a decent discussion to have. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like this video, click like, and maybe think about subscribing and sharing and commenting and all that YouTube stuff. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.